reading.
Okay.
That would suck if I didn't record it.
Yeah, that would suck.
Because I like the fact that you guys get to be able to listen back to them because I have people that say they listen to readings on YouTube
Hmm.
from 3 years ago.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Like, I don't really remember what I said, but okay.
What did I say? If it resonated with you, that's okay. That's all that matters.
Yes, yes, basically. Okay. So I was asking a little bit last night about like any past lives that might need to pop up, and the girl we talked about last time, like in France, I think, or like Venice, Italy, somewhere around there,
Yes, the
with
little girl, the young girl.
the sleeves and stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like she's coming around to more of that since I like popped that bubble of acknowledgement.
Oh yeah.
Because still keeps taking me back to like that bridge. It kind of looks like a painting from how I see it. It's like very nice and bright and sunny. And I think I
Hmm.
told you this last time.
Yep.
It's just a sense of peace, and she's definitely there around you and with
Oh.
you in like a very comforting sense.
Hmm.
That one was there. And then whenever I was meditating on it last night, I think the past life with this twin flame that you were asking me about not too long ago was coming up.
Hmm.
I feel like he's been a man for a while, but in this particular past life, he feels kind of controlling and almost like, hmm, what,
Possessive.
yeah, like, what are you doing
Hmm.
now? What are you doing now? And I don't think that's a trait he's lost.
Uh, I mean, if it's he, if if he's that way, I don't feel it's with me because he just flat out ghosted me in March. Like the lines just cut. And I mean, it was at a time obviously he was with his girlfriend at the time and I was just engaged. So um we were communicating because he was actually the one person at my job that I felt this like instant
Mm-hmm.
kinship with, and we just talked and joked around, whatever. So I felt very like he opened up to me about things in his childhood that he even said, like, I've never told anybody about this, or he had a very bad habit of just going out and getting wasted and telling me all these horrible stories the next day at work and just like laughing it off. But it was really concerning because I'm like, you're a really great guy, you need to take care of yourself. And he's like, why are you talking to me like it's someone? I'm not used to people talking to me like they genuinely care unless they want something from me. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't feel that way towards you. I genuinely care about you. So, and the one time when we were in separation and he was telling me about in a text about um this like sexual experience he was having with his girlfriend. And I don't know why, Lexi, I literally felt like I was in agony, screaming in like it was an uncontrollable reaction. Like it was what genuine heartbreak feels like. And I'm like, why am I feeling this way? My mom's gonna come up the stairs, gonna see me crying uncontrollably. And I'm like, I can't explain this. Like, I don't even know what the hell's going on with me. So I'm like, that was horrible. Like I could still picture that moment, that feeling. It was like this anguish that just, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whenever past life situations, because I've seen this happen a couple times with just like clients and even
Mm.
fellow readers where I don't know why, but somehow I find out this information. I had quite a few dreams where I was with this client of mine, and I was like, I keep seeing you with a man, and you go off and you go secretly with this man, and I'm like being this
Mhm.
lookout bitch for you, like you're. And I was like, I described him to a T, and she was like, how do you know that? And I was like,
That's my coworker.
I thought I was the crazy one and I was having a dream, and she was like, "No, that's my spirit guide." And he was my first spirit guide, and like I kind of fell in love with him like a little bit.
Oh,
And she was like, I did all these journeys and all this work with him, and we were together in this past life, and then he became my spirit guide. So it's a thing, like what you are experiencing and like have experienced is a thing. Whenever we see these like past life ties, it can be heartbreaking because like your soul kind of remembers that connection, but like logically in our brain we're like, why are we doing this? Like
exactly.
that doesn't fit the narrative that is my life.
Right.
And if I had a choice, like you would obviously probably still choose the narrative that you're in, that you've already built for yourself.
Right.
That's a soul connection that your soul remembers, and so it can be like heartbreaking, and you kind of have to go through the motions of that because unfortunately, like until you kind of let that go, like you can't expand farther like on your spiritual
Right.
journey and just throughout life because that's going to keep tempting you. It's like a little tempting
Mhm.
is what they're saying. It's kind of
Yes.
like a temptress where you want to keep going back and forging that connection.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you had up until then, up until March, been doing any like cord cutting or anything for yourself.
I hadn't done cord cutting at that time because at that time I was still planning my wedding. I was dealing with a whole bunch of drama with my extended family.
Oh Lord.
And because of the wedding, because of the way we were choosing to do it, just very small and everything. And so my head was just all over the place. So the only time I did a cord cutting was that time I showed you the picture where the man's face is there and you literally see like to me it looked like a cut umbilical cord. So,
Well,
and I don't, yeah, and I don't feel this tie as strongly as it used to. And I don't know if he's having a hard time letting it go or it's just in a different way for him, but I never experienced him coming in the 5D for me before like he has now.
so that is common. We can,
Mm.
okay, so they're telling me information. Sorry. I'm
Okay.
listening and then I'm also hearing like my other voice.
Yep.
So they're saying to me that like spirit guides can cut your cords. I've never heard of this before. I might have to
Oh.
investigate this with Nancy. But if you're kind of straying, they're saying it's kind of like if you stray too far from a path that we're supposed to be on, or
Mm-hmm.
he's not really somebody you would have like mothered him, babied him, looked after him, but like I don't think that would have been reciprocated in the same way.
You mean then or now?
I think they're saying both.
Okay.
So it's almost like there was an intervention. Like we can't keep going on. We can't keep going here. There was like an energetic block that was put up, and so he might have stepped off. You might have stepped off. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I definitely felt that for sure. Like that was
It
like a whole
doesn't matter who made the first move. The cord was cut, and I don't think it was by you or by him. It was from like somebody else.
spirit. Hmm.
Somebody else stepped in their way and was like,
We're
no,
just gonna
no. Um,
that makes sense because it was very, very abrupt. Like an actual wall had come down and it was just like, okay, so I'm just gonna go by my merry way.
yeah.
Mm.
Um, I mean, he has had past lives with you, and like he feels like he's very strong energy, but also he does have like that. They keep saying the word possessive,
Hmm.
like this
What time,
possessive
like
energy.
what I guess time period. Yeah, what time period are you
They're
seeing
showing me
that?
like the like 1920s, like he was like a coal miner, like a working with his hands
Oh wow.
guy. Like whenever I see him, he's like a younger guy in his 20s, so it looks like he's like in London or Europe, like
Uh-huh.
that old timey fashioned way. You've had like some older past lives with him, but they're saying that was the last time he was like reincarnating into that area of the world. And
Okay.
now we're more here.
Okay. Because that makes sense, especially when you say like in the London, Europe era, because the very first time, oh my God, I had I was doing a meditation and I saw myself walking down this corridor in what looked like a Victorian house because that's what it felt like. I didn't see myself, but I felt like I was the one physically in that space because I would look at my hands and I could see these like Victorian style sleeves. And then as I'm walking down a corridor, I pass this great parlor and I go to turn right. And when there's a glowing fireplace inside that study room that's across on the left side of the right hallway. And it's grand. It's like this huge library. And I see this man, young man, and I feel his name was Adrian. His back was towards me and he was just standing there. And it felt like we weren't supposed to be seeing each other in that space. I don't remember if he was married or I was, but I think that was the time when I did a reading for myself, that a past life reading, that I had walked away in that time period because it wasn't serving us in that space and I needed to walk away.
Yeah. I Whenever I think about it and I like ask the question like who walks away first, I think you guys walk away from each other frequently. It's kind of like we almost, but like we didn't.
Right.
And I think everybody has that one person where like you really liked him, but
Hmm. Right.
and those are the ones that usually like just go away and just
Just kind of like, yeah.
yeah. So hold on, I'm listening. They're saying
Hmm.
just like multiple past lives, like at least 10. You guys kind of
Really?
at least 10.
Holy crap. Like, what other times were we together or close to it?
Um
Oh,
I'm
10.
hearing Spain.
Uh-huh.
There was a past life in Spain. Quite a few different past lives in Europe. And are you in New Jersey now? I think you are in New Jersey, aren't you?
No, I'm in Pennsylvania. I was born in New Jersey though.
They're saying quite a few times in New Jersey, in like the state of New Jersey. I've never gotten state specific before, so that's cool. And I asked, I was
Wow.
like, well, this like a is this like a same like you're reincarnating with the same families and stuff? And they're like, that doesn't matter, because they're like her question is location specific, like what lifetimes, what were you doing? And I was like, okay. So like different families, but like locations,
Hmm.
that's where you are. And I think for you, that's gonna help you. Because now they're talking about soul integration, like taking those pieces whenever you do soul retrieval work. I don't know if you have done that yet or
I've never done that. I don't even know how to begin doing that.
okay, so whenever you're doing a soul retrieval, we do it a lot. And how long have you been with TCC? I can't
Not very long, to be honest with you.
remember. That's okay. I don't think we've done any
If
soul retrievals in a while.
I want to say a year, or if not a year, close. Yeah.
I don't think we've done any soul retrievals, but basically the gist of
Okay.
it is when we're good, like you go into a meditative space and you sit there and you sit with your guides and you're supposed to be calling soul pieces that are coming to you because they only come back whenever they're ready.
Oh.
And sometimes you get some things that like aren't the same. Like, okay, 3 years ago, um, I did a soul regression with TCC where I went to in my meditative space and I was asking, okay, what soul pieces want to come forward? And all of these dead people came forward and they were just like pointing and they were pointing to this big black pool of water and I was like, what the fuck is this? This doesn't look normal.
Doesn't look right.
And so I went over there, and then they were like instructing me to put my hands in the water, and I pulled out a baby, and they were like, "This is you. You didn't make it past this stage." And
Oh.
that basically, I had to be, I had to bring that piece of me back. But there's also been like grown pieces and
Mhm.
whatever you need to come back or what's ready to come forward will come forward. So it can be something that can't tell you anything, like
Mhm.
tell me anything, but it was a very emotional experience whenever I did integrate that soul piece. And
Mhm.
basically, after you find the piece that steps forward, it can be one piece, it can be multiple pieces. You usually ask, like, are you ready to integrate? And sometimes they will say no. I've had clients who are like, that bitch said no. And I'm like, well, you gotta keep trying.
Okay.
Chances are, like, if they've said no, you're probably on some level not also like not ready. Um,
Okay.
I usually ask if they have any stories to tell me or any moments they want to show me.
Mhm.
And once that's done, I think each person has a place that they go to, but you can tell that soul piece it's time. We're going to reintegrate. You can have your spirit guides come forward. My spirit guides are going to be here. And to me, it's almost like they turn to ash, and that ash kind of gets put back into me
Oh, wow.
in my energy space. I think each place looks different. I've never asked other people, like clients
Mhm.
specifically, just because the only soul retrievals I've led have been inside of TCC. I normally don't have clients ask
Oh, okay.
if they can be like guided. Maybe that's something I should put in my own group here. We're gonna do a
You know
spirit
what?
table today.
Okay. Go for it.
Just because I just besides TCC, I don't. Nobody's really asked if I can do a
I
guided
would
soul
ask.
retrieval with them.
I would ask.
But it's really to me, it's an emotional experience, but it's an
Mhm.
experience for you and what's brought forth for you. Um, to me is always truth. I don't question what I see whenever I'm in that space because I don't think spirits or spirit guides can lie or mislead you in any
Mislead you.
way, especially whenever you are doing past life work. And
Mhm.
obviously, you've already done some of it, so you're kind of more familiar with it than like somebody's like, I don't fucking know, like, I guess I need this.
It's weird because it comes to me in pictures. And the times that it actually came to me where I physically was kind of swapping between that past life and my present. Do you ever see the mummy when she's having that past life and she's going with the flame?
We just watched it, me and my kids. We watched it the day before Easter.
That's too funny.
We watched it.
That's awesome. That's the image that came to my mind. So when Evie is, she's going with the torch and it's the past life and it's the present, that's exactly the moment I experience as I'm walking towards my building at work. Like I'm outside in a time period, I'm out in the woods and I must have been some type of an auburn redhead because I see the curly hair just in the wind, just kind of going up against me. And
I
then I blink.
priestess whenever you say that. Like you were a priestess in
Really?
Ireland, like ancient
In where?
in Ireland, like
Really?
ancient times. That's what I heard. Whenever as soon as you started describing that, I could see like you're like on this kind of looks like a hill or a mound and like grassy
Uh-huh.
area and you're outside and there's like woods and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
That's exactly what I was walking through. And I looked down, like it's happened to me before in that past life with my twin flame. I look down and I see my dress is kind of like, I don't know if you could see that
Yeah.
dark teal. So I look down and I see I have this long dress in that color. It's just very simple. And then I'm walking back in the middle of winter at work. And then it happens again. And I see this flowing hair beside me. So it's me then and then me now, but I'm out in the woods and I keep thinking back. I'm like, I see myself rubbing herbs like this in this giant bowl, and it's moments like that. So I actually wanted to ask you if I had anything like that in a past life or in my lineage because I just have always felt such a pull towards that.
You do.
Wow.
You do. So, I was talking to somebody recently, and she was asking me about making candles, and she was like, "Well, I want to take your ideas," and I was like, "It's not really about that. I don't really give a fuck." what it's about is like your intentions and things are going to be way different than mine because my
Hmm.
heritage and my past life experiences are very different um, from yours. And I think everybody has those situations. And for you, I think you were like a priestess and you did have like a little garden. And I always tell people to like try and focus on that, like to bring those past life moments
Mm-hmm.
more present so you
Yeah.
can connect with that past self. And I feel like if you're using those past life gifts, then that just encourages that more to come forward. And especially
Oh,
if you want
wow.
to do like soul retrieval work and things, you
Okay.
work more with herbs. Like, even if it's just, it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I'm going to dress these candles and I'm going to do all this. It can just be like, I have a garden and I'm
Right.
keeping my tomatoes alive.
Well, that's exactly. I bought all these plants the other day because I've been called to just have them right beside me, and
And
I'm
that
just.
is perfect. That is perfect because even so, I know we were talking about your last reading, like keeping plants, keeping things alive,
Mhm.
because sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes your plants just die, no matter how much love and affection you give them,
Oh, I know. I
but
know.
they have taken an energetic hit for you.
Mhm.
And so
Yep.
sometimes you just gotta let that thing go. Um, but what I
As long as it's not the expensive one.
I know. But you can set those intentions for it. You can set intentions for those plants, and that can also help you connect to that past life a little stronger.
Okay.
And whenever you do those soul integrations, you can ask her to come forward, and she might not be ready. She might
Sure.
not be ready. Um,
Mhm.
but eventually, like it'll get easier and easier and easier as you do it. And I will tell you, like the first couple times I did soul retrieval work, it was very emotional for me. And some of the things,
Mhm.
once you see, you cannot unsee.
Yeah.
Um, and also, like I would have pain, like it's like a physical pain, like in my jaw, or I would have a headache. And some people even say whenever I give them Reiki, like they'll have a headache afterward. And I'm like, drink your water, bitch,
Mhm.
because it's gonna help you.
Mhm.
Um, but, and that's just the energy moving in you in a different way.
Okay.
And you're remembering those things. And for you, for somebody who doesn't have to do a lot of soul retrieval work, but is experiencing these past lives anyway, it might be a little bit more intense for you.
Again, can you repeat that again?
So,
My husband. Okay, my husband was calling me and it went mute for a minute.
my husband, this is
Yes.
our time. So for somebody like you, it might be a little bit more intense because the visions are just easier for you to just be open to because your crown chakra is really open. My
Hmm.
crown chakra is really open too, so I can identify with this.
Okay.
'Cause
That's good because sometimes I don't know why things are I'm seeing or perceiving things and I'm like, why? I think I'm kind of blocked up here, but I guess I'm not.
no, no, I don't think you are. I think you're probably more open
Hmm.
than a lot of other people are because for you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like it's effortless. Like you ask for something and you just see it. Like, what's my past life? Oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to the grocery store. Now we're going to see my past life.
Well, sometimes I'm like, is it because I have like an overactive imagination when I was a kid or whatever that I'm just seeing things and they just kind of it's so elaborate. It just like you said, it just effortlessly shows itself in my mind's eye and I'm like, okay, well that seems really awesome, but did I really just think that or did that was that just something that came through?
So, I don't, okay, I have controversial ideas
Hmm.
about imagination.
Okay.
Because time is not really a thing.
Hmm.
Time is all like technically all of our past lives are happening at the same time this one's happening because
Right.
time is not a thing
Uh-huh.
as well as our future lives and our alternate timelines. It's all happening at
Oh,
once.
okay.
To me anyway. And I've
Yeah.
done soul retrieval sessions where I'm like, but that life is like right there. I need to figure out how to get there.
From here.
Yeah. I'm rich and I need to get there.
Can we go there now?
Yeah. So time isn't linear, and I think if you're thinking that you have an overactive imagination, I don't think it's an overactive imagination. Somewhere along the line, that is happening.
Hmm.
Just whenever you look at like writers and people who can just imagine these amazing,
Mm-hmm.
fantastical worlds, like R.R. Tolkien and the person that wrote like Harry Potter and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point like it is happening. It is
Right.
happening if you can have such a clear, precise
Yes.
picture, it
Uh-huh.
is happening. So I think a lot of what people are assuming, and they're like, oh my God, that I just had this imagination, that is society and our deep programming to put a label on everything.
Yeah.
Put a label, look
Or dismiss everything.
or dismiss it. And so I try to tell people, and I know that sounds a little weird. I'm like,
No,
if
not at all.
you have an imagination, that's you somewhere. It might not be right now, and it might be really hard for you to get there, but you can perceive that. Because at one point in time, you either witnessed it or it happened to you.
Mm-hmm. I that actually makes a lot of sense because there actually have been times where I'm just driving and a really horrific image just comes to mind and I'm like, why am I thinking that? Why did that even come across? Like, what? Stop thinking things like that. And it's just it'll just come into mind. It'll be either with my parents or someone I used to work with or whatever, and it's just like this tragic thing happens, and I'm like, oh no, I can't think that way. Stop. Don't bring that kind of energy into your space. But
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And a lot of that can be just super intuitive, where maybe it's happening in another timeline, maybe it's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it happens anyway. To me,
Yeah.
I call those like little whispers from spirit, like, get ready, it's
Mm-hmm.
about to pop off. And I can't tell you how many times it has happened in my life.
Hmm.
Been real bad, real
Oh God.
quickly.
Oh my gosh. I
Because
can't.
that just means like you're just more open to perceiving that, because a lot of other people are on the spectrum that are like, I'm so blocked, I don't know what to do, nothing I'm doing is working. Well, you have to be open. I am open.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure? Because if you were really open, you'd be telling me about like the little Loch Ness monster you see in your closet, okay? Or you'd be telling me like you don't like your bathroom. Like I used to hate sitting
Mm-hmm.
behind, like I'd be sitting on the bathtub and I couldn't have
Uh-huh.
my back to the wall because irrationally somebody was there.
Right.
If I turned away, they would touch me. And I just knew that,
Ugh.
so I didn't. But as soon as I started acknowledging, hey, I know there's somebody like in the bathroom and you need to leave, that started to fade away because I started to
Yeah.
really just acknowledge it. And a lot of it is taking your power back. And so whenever you're
Mm-hmm.
working, I'm gonna do this in my little group. We're gonna be working on taking our power back in our crown chakra. This is the big um, so a lot of this is like, to me, whenever you have a crown chakra that is so open, it's almost like whenever you have an overactive organ in your body, like a lot of the other ones are going to try and like keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember to kind of like slow down a little bit, especially whenever you get overwhelmed or you start to
Mm-hmm.
like channel. I think I told you last time about like automatic writing.
Yep.
That might help kind of like slow things down a little bit. Or if you
Okay.
draw, like automatic drawing, just drawing to draw, like you don't have like a specific thing in mind or a prompt in
I
mind.
should try that. I never thought of automatic drawing, and I'm the one who's constantly drawing, but that's actually a really good idea. Because I saw myself the one night sketching with on a gray charcoal piece of paper and a white charcoal pencil. This Victorian woman, and Nancy had seen her, and I had reached out to her who she was because she was helping me in another timeline help this woman cross over who had lost her baby. So, and it happened while I was doing laundry, surprisingly enough. And Nancy's like, yeah, that's usually when they like to come through when you're doing the most mundane thing in the house. That's when they show up.
Yeah, because you kind of go on autopilot whenever you're doing things like, oh, I'm
Oh,
gonna do the dishes. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Like, I frequently am staring out the window at my dishes with the water running because I don't know,
yep.
something about the water just helps me connect more.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a few private rituals for people where my feet are in water to
Really?
bridge that connection faster. Yes.
That's awesome.
Where they needed help with a really intense soul retrieval. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew I needed like all the elements to kind of,
Sure.
which
That's really interesting. Mm-hmm.
that can happen, but she needed a lot of help. A lot of help. So,
Oh, geez. It's funny that you mentioned the thing with the spirit in the bathtub because I don't feel as fearful of going into my bathroom with the gentleman that's in the shed
hmm
if he's still there. I think he might be. Sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't, but
he's more relaxed now.
he seems it more.
I think a lot of because of the activity just kind I feel like this like popped off at once. Like everybody just popped off, like pop, 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 pop. It was more like they needed somebody to go in and acknowledge them, to like
Right.
see them. There is a name of this movie. I just watched it with my husband and I wish I could think of it. It's this ghost movie where this guy, they're trying to sell their house and the wife is getting real frustrated, and then all of a sudden right before they're about to sell the house, he dies in front of the house in a car crash, and he comes back and he like is haunting her to give her comfort. But what happens
Oh.
is she never notices him.
Oh
Gets
no.
stayed He stays stuck in the house and he can't really move on in a sense until he's like seen and noticed, and she leaves
Okay.
something in the wall, and every single house that she's ever lived in the beginning of the movie she's like, I leave a little note in each house, and his whole point is like, I just have to get to the note to be seen.
Oh, who's in this movie?
God, these are some actors I'd never seen before. I can't think of it. Oh
Is
my.
it like an indie film kind of thing?
It is like an indie film, and
Oh,
you never know what's on the note the whole entire time. She puts it in there, and you never know. I'm gonna have to find it, and
please do, because that sounds really good.
I'll send it to you. Not There's not a lot of like talking and shit. I'm not gonna lie. It's mostly
That's
just
fine.
him, and you see over the years like the houses change, the people in it change because he gets rid
Oh.
of it, and
Hmm.
he's just really trying to be noticed. And then there's a point in the movie where you see he notices other dead people in another house, and
Like across the street?
yeah. And she's
Oh,
like
wow.
waiting for them to come back, but they never come back. And at the end of the very movie, she gets to move on and find like some type of peace because she's like, they're not coming back because they can't come back.
Hmm.
And then that kind of helps her move on. But you see him as he shifts into the future, into alternate timelines. And I'm like, this is pretty accurate for how they perceive time and how
Right.
spirit really kind of just gets stuck
Suck.
to interact. And I tell people all the
Oh.
time, I'm like, how they were in life is kind of how they are in death. So
Hmm. If they
sorry.
were creepy alive, they're gonna be creepy in death.
And to them, that's normal.
Right.
That's not any different. You
That's
can,
just another Tuesday.
yeah, you
Mhm.
can put boundaries down. And I think I was talking to you last time about like smoky quartz and having that
It's on my window. It's
and
there.
I think that's helping as a deterrent. And so if you ever need, I don't know if you got like the conjure crates. I can't remember how many incense we put in there.
I've only gotten one, and the only one I was it just the, yeah, it was just the one, and it had the peacock mirror in it.
Dang, that was a long time ago, and now
That
I
was a
can't
long time.
find them.
I forgot what that one was about, but I know those three incense sticks I burned a while back.
Okay. Well, anyway, if you ever come across some more incense, I might have some that I can like throw in the mail for you. I'm gonna look. I know I
Okay.
have like a whole bunch of them. Um, where that smoky quartz is, if it's
Uh-huh.
it's on your window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look out the window, you can see kind of that yard area.
You can't see the yard because the shed is like attached to where the window is,
Hmm.
but there is a yard back there. Yeah.
Okay. Because what I'm seeing is like, do you have a fence? Is it like a fence or something?
No, our neighbor does, but we have more like bushes more than any. Well, no, wait, I lied. We do have a fence. Never mind. This is how well I know my house. Yes, we have a fence.
Okay, because
Sorry.
how I'm seeing it is kind of like a little like it's curved like my view, but like the yard, I almost can't.
Because it's almost like a little hill.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
But
little
you can
hill.
see like a fence.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, I know you have that smoky quartz there. If you just like, I went and got like a little thing like this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get a cute little thing in my box
Mm-hmm.
to put my incense in, but if you just take your
Okay.
incense and then you put it near that smoky quartz, that can act as like a barrier. And you can also set intentions with that smoky quartz and be like, okay, look, if spirit comes, you guys need to come through this smoky quartz and this smoke, and your doorway is here, your spirit door is here, and you can be released that way.
Okay.
So you can do that, you can,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of set that up. But I'm going to pause on all the like information part of this reading. Do you have more specific questions about past lives before I give you your cards?
Yes. With the priestess, do you see anything more with her?
Shit, I don't know. Okay, so what is, I think they're called like an athame? Athame? The little
An
sh
athame? Uh-huh.
I can never say that. I don't have one of those, but that's what I see.
Oh.
And they're showing me like she did like some type of blood magic. Like,
Hmm.
I don't do this, but I know there are practitioners that do, or they work with their lady blood
Yes, I have heard that.
once a
I Yeah, I just
I'm
like
I'm I'm not your girl for that. I mean, I'm sure I can find
I'm not the girl either. But
I'm not.
that's okay.
Um, but I think that was kind of another portion of it. Like I almost see that's like a secret, like shh, and you do that at night. And
Hmm.
the athame is like a tool that you use to give that power. Like I see like a wooden bowl, and I see you
Mm-hmm.
pouring like blood. I don't know from where. I'm not asking.
Hmm.
Don't want to know.
I don't want to know either.
And that's in there, and you almost like sit it on a rock like in this field, but there's like woods behind you, and it's at night and it's full moon, and I think you had some very intense like full moon magic, and I hear somebody whispering like those are curses, and you can use it for like different, you can intention that time and space, and that bowl full of, because it's blood, it's connected to the physical body, you can use it to hurt people or you can use it for good things.
Oh, wow.
But that
Huh.
May was a very powerful charge tool. It's like about that big, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks like it has like a clear quartz, like a chunk like this that I use for readings.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like wire wrapped or like wrapped with some type of cloth on it.
Okay. Oh.
I mean, you can get one and you can make it and use it as like an altar tool to do your
Mm-hmm.
own personal manifestations.
Mm-hmm.
They keep saying that one was used for curses. So maybe we had different tools to do. You can't piss people off. Like maybe you have different tools for things.
Okay.
Now they're saying you accepted what you were getting in return.
In that time, I accepted what I was getting in return.
They're like
Okay.
you can't lay things down like that. You can't have like you can't be spitting out all this negative energy and not expect to have something come back.
Oh, so I was getting karma.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
But you are very slender. I feel like you're tall. You're taller than me. I'm about 5'2" on a good day.
I'm 5'4".
So you're like taller. You've got this long red hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's very flowy,
Yep.
and you have robes, but also like this little shifty like dress.
Yep. Because that's what I saw in that moment when I was having those shifts of perception of vision coming through.
And these robes look a little darker, and it's almost like you have like some type of band or headdress or something that you wear
Oh,
across here
okay.
that looks a little gold, and I can see like really deep green eyes.
Wow. Is there, before you go to the cars, because I'm like so fascinated by this right now, is there, are they allowing you to see anything more with her? Like the whole with the curses and the hexes? I hope that's not all I did back then. I hope I worked with some good energy too.
I think you did both. I feel like if I'm asking her in this moment, you're just really pissed off, and I see like symbols like tattooed and stuff on you. If I ask, I hear the
Hmm.
word druid, but there's just unfortunately there's not enough like actual written evidence because of how they lived their lives.
Yes, the druids. Yeah, that's so funny because I was called to druid work a while back. Like I bought a book on druidry. I can speak. Um, but as a kid, even I was very called to Celtic mythology. To just even my confirmation name was Bridget because I absolutely loved her and I just loved everything about Ireland. But that was okay.
I see like it's like they didn't how I describe what they're doing. It looks like they're taking like coal or ash or rock and they're crushing
Uh-huh.
it up,
Uh-huh.
making it into like a powder or a paste, and that's what they put on their body. But everything has to be done in secret because I see somebody else go, hush. And she's like this blonde lady, but she has a white like veil over her head that comes this way. She goes, shh.
Oh.
Like everything has to be done very secret.
Well, I think that if I remember correctly, the Druids did have to practice at some point in secret, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Whenever England came over and they were trying to like colonize them and
Mm-hmm.
take over their lands and things. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, there's
Hmm.
like a whole history with the colonization of
Yeah.
Ireland and the Celtic lands through Great Britain that I kind of know, but not
Mm-hmm.
as much as I felt like I actually lived there.
Right. Oh, wow.
But
Does a name come up? I see a K, a name with a K on it.
I don't know if this is an Irish name, but they're saying like Karina, and
Oh,
I heard another name like Sarah.
okay.
So I would definitely look into if you feel like it's more of an Irish name. I don't know a lot of traditional Irish names.
I don't
I
either.
can I can pronounce them pretty all right. I've
Mm-hmm.
read for a few people in Ireland, but I don't have a lot of traditional Irish names that
Yeah,
I like know. But I
I
hear
don't either.
Karina, something like that, like a
Okay.
hard K sound. But
Yep.
their alphabet is not it's not phonetic with ours because theirs is more like Gaelic, and that's a whole other language I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. Okay.
I've listened to it and I think it's beautiful. I can say like a couple phrases. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's more than what I can say, so.
They have some type of things that they can throw. Hold on. I need to use the Google for a second
Okay.
because I can't remember. Because you can read these if you try, and I don't know what they are. Oh my God. Come on, come on, come on.
Not runes, right?
they're like there's a certain name for them. They're like Irish runes, but they have their alphabet
Oh,
in them, like the Gaelic
okay.
and I think they have a different name besides Irish ruin. Irish ruin for divination. I can't even spell. Okay. Ogenham ruin sticks.
Oh,
So yeah,
rune
Celtic
sticks.
Ogenham. It's
Uh-huh.
Oghan, symbols and their meanings. So they look like lines, and you're gonna draw like different lines on them. I've seen people make them, and you
Hmm.
can get little cheat sheets and stuff, but people would use them and just like and then throw them down, and that would be your reading. I think the Vikings
Oh.
did something similar. I think you can specifically read these. If you call her back and do that soul retrieval, that will help you kind of digest
Oh.
that information a lot
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
as
very
as
interesting.
a divination tool for yourself, that's something you can just practice. Even if you don't, I don't think, even if you don't do a lot with it, like it's something you can
Mhm.
have for yourself. And to me, that's also a way in which you can take your power back from that past life.
Because that's what she used, is what you see.
Hmm. And it's also like symbols, and it's a connection to
Okay.
the symbology of that
Oh.
life and like the tattoos and the things that you had on your
Oh,
body and
hang on. I'm getting some interruption in the hang on. I'm getting some interruption in the feed.
I got you.
Somebody's coming through.
Are we good now? We good now?
We're good now. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, it has to do a lot with like the symbology and like the symbols that you would paint on your body in that life where everything that you did was spiritual and had a spiritual
Oh,
meaning.
okay.
And everything had power in itself. Everything was
Wow.
powerful and everything was a spiritual tool.
Okay.
Like if you had an athame, I could see you like using it for like rituals and stuff. I mean, maybe I shouldn't encourage you to like buy a pointy sword, but I'm just saying.
A letter opener.
Yeah, sure. It's a letter opener. It just has like
It's
feathers and crystals on it. It's fine.
that's
It's
all.
really
I made it
pretty.
pretty. It's bedazzled. That's what it
Yeah, it's bedazzled. That's a good way to put it.
is.
Um,
Okay.
I'm asking more about that life. So you did have like some children in that life. They're saying
Hmm.
3 children, and you kind of, as you transition to like an older woman, um, you did better. You reacted less out of. They're saying the word violence. It's not like you were like going out and like hurting people, but your intentions were to like hurt people.
Oh,
And you did that stuff with the woods, and you can do it for good or for bad. That was it was an open pot, I guess you could say, but your
okay.
intentions were like I'm about to fuck him up
Oh my God.
because
A
you were
little bit vengeful.
they're saying somebody hurt your kid and you were mad.
Ah,
And so we just reacted. But as you
we
got
took care
older,
of that.
yeah,
We took
you
care of
got
that.
better and you passed a lot of your knowledge and information down onto them. But you did have 3 girls, and they're saying one boy,
Really?
but he didn't live past a certain age.
Okay.
So they're only counting the 3 girls, and that's how you continued on to that line. And then as an older woman, you were seen more as a healer and less of a person that was reactionary, but that also helped you because at that point your work had to be hidden. And I see the other lady
Ah,
go,
okay. which is funny because I keep my work hidden right now. I've had to keep it hidden from my family and my husband to an extent. Like I do have crystal. I feel I can have a little bit more free reign here because I do have more crystals out. He's fine with me burning herbs, but in regards to like openly doing divination work or having tarot decks or oracle decks out here or doing a ritual, I only do it when I'm by myself. So yeah, I get that.
I mean, that takes its own toll.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think I just like to have privacy. And now I
Mhm.
just tell my husband, like, I have a reading to do. Like, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna do what I need to do. And
Mhm.
sometimes he'll be like, "Do you need us to leave the house?" And then I'm like, "Well, if you could, like, that'd be great."
Yeah, I don't need your energy around here right now.
Um, I would just say take baby steps with it.
Yeah.
Have a tarot deck out and just be like, boop, 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 I'm doing my coffee. And if he says anything, just be like, this is my coffee. This is my coffee time. What do you want? We can talk in a second. Chill. And then just put it away. Just expose
Okay.
it like a little increments. Little increments. That's how I started.
Yeah.
And now he just doesn't touch anything. He's like, okay.
Yeah. Because he's seen me, like we've gone to his ex-wife's house because she had a spirit that, oh boy, I spoke to Nancy about it and he did some very,
Nasty one, didn't she?
what's that?
She had a nasty one, didn't she?
She did. And I in from like just intuitively going in there and with whatever knowledge I had, I just, I stood my ground. I was there and I talked him out of it and I could see him in my mind's eye. And when I walked in that room for the first time, the temperature change was so drastic and I could feel the closer I got to the corner where he was staying in, the more I felt that resistance to go in there. So I just talked him through it and I did what I had to do. You felt that energy change so fast. Like the warmth actually went into the bedroom that time.
Awesome.
So yeah. So he's seen me do that. So he's aware, but I think he just chooses not to believe it or acknowledge it or I don't know.
Well, at the end of the day, you're still having your experiences and you're still gonna do you.
Mhm.
And I always just said, I don't fuck with your video games, don't fuck with my cards, okay? We're gonna be fine. Otherwise,
I'd be like, listen, I don't mess with your Dragon Ball and your soccer, so just leave me be. Give me my corner with my plants and my cards.
it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But if you're wanting to do more out in the open instead of being like hidden all the time, I would just say just bring it out a little bit at a time. Your morning coffee. You're not doing readings and like bringing other people in, you're just doing it for yourself.
Which is really what I do.
Then let yourself be yourself because that's your
Okay.
space, that's your home, and you should feel safe and comfortable there.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That
that'll
is true.
also like help your spiritual practice because what if you do have a very persistent spirit and you're like, not right now, guys, but they're still making you feel uncomfortable.
That's true.
You should be able to be like, I need to get up, I need to burn some incense, I need to burn a candle,
Mhm.
I need to be able to do what I'm doing.
Right. That's true.
I would say in that way, kind of take your power back just a little bit. And like I said, even mopping the floor can be spiritual. I put Florida water in my
So do I.
and I
Yep.
mop the floor and I'm
And
like,
he knows that. He knows that because he loves how the house feels afterwards. And I wipe down my surfaces with Florida water too. It's just the divination that makes him a little.
a little bit at a time, just a little bit, a little bit.
I'm just gonna have like an oracle deck out first because those are friendly. Those are a little sometimes.
Tarot cards are friendly too. People have this huge misconception on that tarot cards are just bad and horrible and
Well,
some
and especially because they have the devil and the death card in there, which are neither I mean, depending on the reading, it could be something, foreshadowing, but for the most part, it's just, you got to acknowledge your own addictions and free yourself from that. And then, something has to die in order for a new beginning to come through, to merge through. I just see woods down the hall right now for some reason. Very green trees, and it's sunny on fall day. Hmm.
They're just trying to get you to acknowledge them. Like that's a path that you're supposed to be going down. And I
Hmm.
think that means that like you're going down the right path. Exploring? I'm making up new words.
That's a good word. I like it.
We're exploring today.
Yay.
um, these past lives and where you might need to like have for instances take back a little piece of your power because that will help you and make you feel more comfortable in this life because we
That's
shouldn't
true.
be in situations where we have to feel like we have to hide. Extended family is one thing because they're not always going to, be coming around your house.
Right.
Now at this point in my journey, I'm just like, yes, I'm gonna have this up. Yes, I have this up. Yes, yes, yes. If you see that there, don't touch it. It's more than likely for a client. Don't fucking touch it.
Right.
Don't touch it. Otherwise, I don't know what's gonna happen to you because it's for the client. So like, you do that at your own will. Um,
That's true.
but it took a long time to get there, like years and years and years. That's why I
Well,
say
it's
just start out small.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think my baby steps were before I would be really apprehensive to post any like reflections on a tarot spread or deck or a card that I would pull and just to share with everyone. And I was like, do I want to put that up there? Because I know my cousins are going to see it, and then they're just going to go. It's going to come back to my mom and all that because we're very Catholic. But then I was just like, no, I'm going to leave it up there because I don't owe anybody an explanation, especially after all the shit that they talked. Regardless, I'm just like, it is what it is at this point.
Yep, and I've had actually quite a few Catholic clients.
Uh
I was like, "Are you gonna tell my family?" And I'm like,
huh. I'm telling your mom right now.
I'm a texter right now. I'm a texter.
Right now.
Um, but it's not to me. The Catholic religion is not that far from like just being spiritual in general.
Right.
It's kind of not. Um, and that's how I try to ease my little Catholic clients as much as possible. Like your relationship with spirituality is your relationship, and I just urge all of my clients to not stay in a place where we are uncomfortable because that sucks.
It
And
does.
eventually that's going to chip away a
Hmm.
little bit each time. And then that's kind of acting against the work that you're trying to do for yourself. That's all that is. It's
That
basically
makes sense.
sabotaging. You're like, I just did the solar retrieval and I feel so amazing and I just saw this and I was in the woods and now
Hmm.
you're like, no, that's crazy. We're gonna put these tarot cards away because that's the devil. And that completely invalidates your experience and they don't even know that they're doing it. They don't know. Because their spiritual work is completely different from your spiritual work.
That's true. That's
And
very true.
sometimes they honestly, they don't mean it. They don't mean it because they don't know.
Hmm. That's
A
true.
lot of the times they know. But there's like
Not in my experience, but I'm going to be open minded about
there's
it.
like a 0.5%.
Yeah.
If I had to put a number on it, that's what I would say.
That sounds about accurate. Yeah.
And that's why I would just say, just kind of try your best to be yourselves. My neighbors, they ask me what I do, and I say I'm a tarot reader.
Hmm.
I'm a tarot reader. I read cards, and they look at me and they're like, "Oh, okay, okay. How does that work? Do you shop? No, I don't want to shop. That's something else I had to deal with. No.
Right.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But it's so weird because when we were in Florida, I can't tell you how many like metaphysical shops I walked by in one freaking street. I'm like, this is pretty rad. I could chill out here.
It depends on where you live. I live in the northern part in Middlebury,
Oh,
Florida.
uh-huh.
So, not so much. There's like
Mm.
one in my local mall. One.
Oh.
And I was like, thank God.
It's like, yay. Well, I mean, there's always, you can order online, which makes it easier too sometimes.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I just like that I have that access point that's like not
Sure.
30 miles away.
Good point.
And that also helps other people like me.
Hmm.
The general public is becoming more exposed in that area. That's how I like to see it.
Well, that's true.
Anyway, all right. Do you want
Mm.
to see your cards that I've given
Yes.
you?
Yes, please. Yes,
I'm so
yes.
excited. I'm so excited because these postcards from Little Space really talk about I think just your past life journey. And whenever I was asking earlier today about how long I do these readings in my head a lot before I ever get to you guys, how long y'all are gonna really just be on the kind of current station and path that you're on. I got for a while, and for you, I would honestly make kind of a goal list. Like, where do you want to be taken? Like, what do you want to be shown whenever you're going on these past life journeys? And I know right now it's still kind of like, it's a little uncontrollable.
Yeah.
You can set these intentions whenever you do meditations, and you don't have to sit down and be like, I have to close my eyes and devote an hour to this. I think that's bullshit. I do a lot of my meditating whenever I'm like in a shower or right before bed. Like, I make it a point to just try to fit that in as much as I can. And I
Okay.
will always have my eyes closed. Don't do it whenever you're driving, like disclaimer, like do not drive and try to meditate.
Well, let me tell you, that's usually when I get some visions coming through when I'm driving, and I'm like,
I
this is
know
not the time.
it does happen. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't, but I'm just saying, like,
Consciously, I will not close my eyes when I'm driving.
be careful, please. So just try and like fit that in. And to me, I think my number one goal whenever I am doing past life is to understand where I lost power and if it was my fault or if it was caused by some type of other natural chaos in my life and where exactly I keep repeating these patterns of having a loss and like why I keep choosing that in my life.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to go with that, but the point is to establish like what kind of goal, like what type of knowledge do you want to just know your past life gifts? What do you want to be shown? And I can tell you, another psychic medium can tell you all day long, but to me, it's always 20 times more powerful for you to
Mm-hmm.
discover it yourself. Or just getting a past life reading and then going back and doing a meditation and seeing it for yourself. Because then you're like, oh shit, that's real.
Mm. Okay.
Just saying. And you can set that intention like, I want to see that redheaded bitch. I want to see whenever I was her. I want to see what it looked like, what her village was like, what her life
Mm-hmm.
was like. I want to see more of that. And you can open that intention in all the time.
Okay.
Time. You don't have to just do like one and done. Like you can keep going back if you would.
Because it's my past life, so I can always go back to it, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
I do it all the time. It's nice.
Speaking of gifts, did you see anything like what were some of the gifts that?
So whenever I was asking, because they
Mhm.
just telling me, I think we're speaking the same language here. So a lot of your gifts were intuitive, and I think a lot of your gifts are intuitive now in this life. You're a really good communicator. I need to look up. They keep saying Pleiadian. You have a lot of Pleiadian energy, and I want to say Pleiadians are. I need to look this up. Don't
Okay.
take this with a grain of salt. If I'm wrong, I will definitely come back and correct myself.
Okay.
Pleiadians are natural workers, but they're also really good at communicating. But you kind of I have this problem too. It's almost like a light or a beacon. Like people just come to you and they start telling you like this uncontrollable shit where you're like, I didn't really want to know like you lost your uncle and your dad and now you're like living in destitution. I just wanted to come here and have my coffee. That stuff happens all the time and it's uncontrollable because people just see you as this light and this warmth and comfort.
Okay.
And they kind of seek that out, and it's just a gift. Yay!
Yay! And then I end up leaving more depleted and not wanting to do anything but just go into bed and go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. So for people who are like that, so a lot of people I think confuse that type of intuitive gift and intuitive past life with being an empath. They're like, "Oh, I'm just an empath." No, bitch, it's so much more. Because
See, I just thought I was an empath, but so what's Palladian? I thought that was like a constellation of some
so
sort.
Pleiadians they had like a whole planet, they had like a whole space,
Oh,
and um, Ple sorry, I'm trying to look this up too.
is
Pleiadians.
there something with seven sisters to do with that? The Palladian
hmm
constellation? Oh,
So, the Pleiadian star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters, is visible from virtually every part of the globe. It looks like a teeny misty dipper of stars. Um,
oh,
I have a lot of notes in my Akashic Records binder on Pleiadian people and all of their gifts and things, and I will send those to you. But they've been saying Pleiadian, Pleiadian, Pleiadian for a really long time. So I'm trying.
wow.
That's part of, okay, so whenever you do Akashic Records readings, you have like the 5D and like 3D and then like 2D, different
Mhm,
levels of planes of existence.
mhm.
Um, for you, you were a plebeian, and those people are fair, but they want like comforting and justice, and they're very loyal. But from what was explained to me, a lot of those people like reincarnated here to spread awareness of what it was like to be a light worker and live in a time of complete peace. And I think we've
Oh,
forgotten that as a society. But
yeah.
there is kind of a flip to that, because then you kind of like attract a certain amount of chaos, and you're like everybody's personal therapist, and people
Mm.
just want to tell you things, and it can be
Or wanting
really,
to fix everyone.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it can be super, super draining. And I think as a blanket statement, people moving forward have just put like, I'm an empath and I'm just sensitive. And yeah, you can be sensitive. You can be sensitive to spirit. Not everybody is an empath. A lot of it is like reincarnated bullshit that you need to learn how to harness. I think
Okay.
empaths would feel a lot better if they were like, well, I can just cleanse my chakras, I can just take a deep breath and cut that energetic cord. They'd probably be a lot less drained. So if
Right.
you have somebody that's coming up to you and they're like, oh my God, and they just have to word vomit on you, or I've
Mhm.
had people say, oh my God, until you came up to me, I was fine, and now I'm like all in my feelings, and I just have to tell you all these things. I'm like, I'm just trying to clock in. Like, can I just clock in? Okay.
Can I
Ask
just
me how your morning was. Like, that's what I said.
Yeah. How are you?
I didn't 100% mean all this. So when they're doing that and you feel like you're being energy kind of like vampired here,
Mhm,
well, today it's really socially acceptable to keep hand sanitizer. I would just put hand sanitizer on my hands and, like, if
mhm.
you can, like, on your chakra. And since your crown chakra is really open, I'd be like, and just extra clean. And then as you're doing this, ask to see if they've put any energetic cords on you, and then ask your spirit guides to cut those energetic cords off, because that
Oh my
will make you
God.
feel like so much better. Or you can kind of be like, and just kind of cut it off yourself if you have like a little selenite. I just have
Yeah, I have one at work actually, a selenite wand.
a selenite palm stone. This is the first thing I had that I grabbed. Just be like, boop, 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 boop. Or you can do it with your hands. You can do it with your higher self energetically. Like, you don't have to pop out anything if you don't want people like looking at you. But that's what I would do. That's what I would focus
That's
on.
that's a really good idea because I know there are times when I'm at work and my back is facing my other coworkers, but there are times where I feel like they're literal fish hooks
Mm.
being pulled on my back, and by the time I go home, I'm like, why is my back so like feel like I'm tight and just done with everyone? Like I just want to go home with a lot of people that I didn't even talk to most of the time. It's just that's the fluid conversation that gets trapped there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so it can be a lot. It can definitely be a lot. So I think so many people focus on the fact that they are empathic and they're like, "Ooh, I can feel everyone's
Yeah,
emotions."
that's not fun all the time.
It sounds really cool, but nobody really like talks about the fact that you need to have like some coping skills
Yeah,
to
it's so true.
deal with that. It's not just about like, oh, I need to recharge and be outside.
No, you need to just cry it out or scream it out and then just ground yourself, have a shower, do what you need to do to just it sucks. It
Yeah,
sucks
yeah,
because you feel the heavier stuff much deeper and much quicker, more concentrated than the joy of other people. It's weird. It's
yes, yes.
yeah.
So if I were you, I would start doing that if that's really like affecting you. And I think
Hmm.
you're carrying a lot of okay, sorry. No, I was hearing screaming. They're fine.
Oh, okay.
It's like, they're fine. So I think you carry like a lot of stress in the root chakra area.
Oh yeah, I know that for a fact.
So that feels like a little just like heavier.
And the sacral too.
Mm-hmm. Because I did
Yeah. Is
pull this little baby.
that
This
red jasper?
this is not red jasper. This is carnelian, but it's kind
Oh.
of veiny carnelian, and it's got like this nice little pocket here. So
Uh-huh.
I think if you're working with the sacral, use some of this like during meditation or just like to rub where your chakra centers are, and that'll start to make you feel a lot better.
And I love working with carnelian. It's really one of my favorite, like of the red
Mhm.
crystals. That's definitely one of my favorites. Just such a, it feels so good when I hold it. So I can just use that on all my chakra points.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can do selenite to kind of cleanse.
Uh-huh.
Selenite's a really
Okay.
good energy cleanser.
Okay.
So I would stick with one of those, one or two of those, any of those, and that might
Okay.
actually help you feel a lot better at work. Try it out, see how it is, and I can check in on you and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like
Yeah,
work vibes.
I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna take actually have a carnelian at my desk. I don't think I have one. I have smoky quartz, obsidian, amethyst, and I have a selenite tower there too.
Amethyst can be a really good like psychic attack blocker. So
Oh yeah.
just make sure like you don't just have them just like laying around chilling. Like talk to them, speak to them, and be like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
need you to do this. I need you to do
Okay.
this." Even if it's like right before you go into work, and take them home every once in a while, cleanse those suckers up,
Oh, I
and
should.
recharge them under like a full moon or a new moon or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember the last time I even cleansed them. Oh, that's so bad.
They
Well, I just figured since the selenite's there. Yeah.
Your crystals can start to feel dead. Speaking from personal experience, I didn't charge my crystals for a really long time, and I was like, whatever. And I went to go pick one up, and I was like, why does it feel like this? And so it's like,
Oh.
when was the last time you charged them, Lexi? And I was like, oh, oops.
My bad. I guess I do need to do that, don't I?
Yeah, and they're like, you need to lay off or have like a personal set for you and a personal set for your clients. I don't really think you need to like have like two different kinds.
Hmm.
As long as you cleanse them and take care of them and charge them and keep them with you, I think you will be fine. But you have to like
Okay.
take care of them. And
Yeah, this
plus,
is
like
true.
people that come to your desk are like nosy as fuck, and if they see shiny shit, they'll want to like touch it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "What? What's that? What's
I
this?"
hate it when they touch my plant too. I'm like, don't touch my plant. It didn't ask you to touch it. Leave it alone.
Hmm. Hmm. So just if I were you, I would take them, cleanse them, and
Hmm.
then bring them right back. Because if you don't, then you're gonna feel even worse. So
That's true. I think I'm gonna make that a habit every week to do that.
make sure you bring them right back. And if there are some that can have like some Florida water on them, have some Florida water. Like
Hmm.
try to set up that barrier. And I think it'll be a lot better at work. Moving on.
I'm definitely gonna do that for sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's get into your cards because I don't want to forget. All
I
right.
know. I'm sorry. I keep asking because of the priestess that came up. Like my twin, clearly my twin flame and I have some shit that we need to resolve because if it's the 10th time, like we're like Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson at this point.
Yeah,
We love to hate each other or hate to love each other.
it'll be okay. It'll be
I, he's getting a new job soon, so I won't have to deal with him very long. So I think
see, it's getting taken care of.
exactly it's getting
Getting
taken
taken
care of.
the
Getting taken care of. Exactly.
So the first card, I like how this is kind of set up visually, is you wish for this. And there are
Wow.
three candles here, but there are only two that are intertwined.
Huh.
And we were just talking about your twin flame, and technically that would be like three people here, but you're only really in a relationship with your husband. So to me, that's kind of like really funny. But
Ha.
you wished for this. So whenever this card comes up, to me, it's always you're wanting more opening or the intentions are there. The intentions are there to move beyond
Mhm.
where you're at in your life. And
Yeah.
that's a really good sign that it's happening and that it's going to come to fruition. Just kind of keep working on what you're
Mhm.
working on and having those goals. If you're wanting to really dive deep into those past lives, you can do it anytime you want and it's fine.
Mhm.
It's fine and it's going to be easy for you to do that. So I'm also working with the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. And
Oh,
so the next card I pulled with that is intention. And I love how,
it's
she,
Cersei.
yeah, she has
Oh,
um, the
I
water here
love
and
that.
it's like
Yeah.
pouring out. So as long as you have these intentions, you'll be fine. Just have a good intention to be moving forward. And
Right.
I mean, if you have bad intentions, like just be prepared.
No, 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 no. I don't need any of that shit around here. I am releasing him with love. The love that he came with, he needs to go with that same love and find his path too.
I think that's going to be for the best, and you're going to find it easier to deal with a lot more things. So I'm
Well,
going to
honestly, I'm already finding it easier to
good,
be around and not feeling that whole, well, why is this? Why is it? Well, anyway, I digress.
good, good, because you are finding a way to move on, and he is, but like it feels very begrudgingly, but he is. He is.
He's getting there. He will. Hmm.
So I'm going to read you from the book about this
I
card.
love that card.
I know this deck is very cute. I like it. So, intention. This card shows a woman holding a vessel of water. Her gaze is directed and purposeful as she steadily pours the contents into the ether. She hovers on a scarlet background of blue and aqua, the colors of the throat chakra, which represent communication and clarity of thought. So I thought that was perfect. That's
I
perfect.
like it. I like it.
Water has the capacity to shapeshift form into liquid, vapor, or solid, depending on which atmospheric conditions are present. Just as the atmosphere shapes the water, the form of water, so too the power of intention activates and shapes your reality. Indeed,
Hmm.
all creation is driven by the power of intention. Drawing this card prompts you to contemplate your aims and intentions. Be clear that they are accurately reflected your feelings, thoughts, and spiritual operations, and think deeply as to whether they are honorable and worthwhile. Reach for your highest potential. Events may not always manifest as you wish, but the purity of your intent will be recognized and accounted for in accordance with the laws of cause and effect.
Hmm.
So I
I
thought that
like it.
was a really good way to like transition.
I
Okay.
like that.
And so your next card I think is really beneficial to just the past life reading in general, especially with this redheaded lady that we've been focusing on
Hmm.
and her gentleness, but also like she has a lot of strength and power and like I can get shit done. Like very confident in her abilities. And
Hmm.
God is a goddess.
Oh, wow. You just gave me goosebumps on that one.
Oh, God is a goddess. That's your next card. And I was like,
I
oh,
like it.
such a good card.
Yeah.
But it forces you to kind of really connect to that feminine, intuition and that feminine working with. And yes, everybody has feminine and masculine, but I think for you, a lot of your intuitive gifts are like female lineage and
Mhm.
female line, and it's going to be fine. I don't see you having like any type of imbalance in that area, so I
Okay.
think you're good.
Mhm.
Um, they're saying a lot of your spirit guides are female, like they present as female and they are
Really?
more feminine.
I've
For
never met, well, I guess I've never taken the time to just sit and try to get to see which of my spirit guides are with me. Um, yeah, I never took the, I feel that my grandmother, my mother's mother, is very close to me, but I feel like with her, I think she had a gift of some sort that no one in the family really knew because her spirituality was so, it was like, yes, faith-based, but I feel she had more beyond that, that no one was really aware of. I don't know why I keep getting that from her.
I hear the word clairaudient, but she was very clairaudient and she could hear. And she knew shit that like they're like, how do you know that? And it's because she could hear. She could hear spirits and things like whispering. If you ask them, they will help you. They'll be like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
da, da, da. And they'll help you. They will help you.
Huh.
Yes. I think she
Well,
was clairaudient and she could hear and she could see. I mean, we all are psychic and we
mhm.
all have our ways in delving into our spirituality.
Hmm.
But that brings me to these last two cards, and I'm super excited for them. This is such a good
Oh
way
my God.
to end
I'm
it.
so excited that you're excited about my cards because then it gets me all hyped up.
Yes. So the next card is the farm. And I love the farm because the farm talks a lot about the intention of going back to your spirituality and to your home, your own inner home, and how
Mhm.
that inner home can change, especially as you grow older. And also, that inner home can be like inner child healing that you need to do because it all starts in the first space, your first home.
Mhm.
This could also be like past life healing because we all have a home, like a sacred space that we go to in meditation, and it can look different. Sometimes some people's home look like this, like a field where we need to heal and connect to our spirit guides and our intuition.
Mhm.
And for you, you just said you didn't know a lot about your spirit guides. Like maybe we try and go here next time you do a
Okay.
meditation where you go home to your home, back to your farm and your beginning.
Okay.
Like whenever I did a meditation, I was like, I want to see the first time I ever reincarnated. I want to see that. I want to know what that felt
Mhm.
like. And to me, I was in a field and I touched down and I see a White House.
Wow.
And I was like, that's home. That's why we're here.
Okay.
And so it's the farm for you, like this symbology of home, you discovering your first home and where you feel comforted, and also the home of your spirit guides because they are your first spiritual defense and they're there with you always. And just connecting back to them.
Okay.
To me, in a sense, that is a spiritual home because they're there waiting for you
Right.
always. So
I
the
like that.
last card is intuition.
Oh man, and there's water again.
Yep,
There's a
there.
lot of water in this.
Lots of water. And I love how she also is, she has this, I don't know if you can see this
She
because
does. I see
she
it.
has a bridge. And the first thoughts in the beginning of your reading was I was seeing that girl on the bridge.
And she also has that crown.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. So, yay!
Oh, wow. This is so awesome.
I
I can't wait to play this back and really like digest it properly.
I know. So, intuition, we're just needing to connect to where our answers are. And honestly, our answers lie like deeply within us. Just like I told you, I have my own version of the farm. Everyone has some type of like white house or just peacefulness inside of them
Mhm.
that kind of started from that beginning, that first life,
Okay.
or even just I need to go back to the first home I ever lived in with my parents because some shit happened that like I don't remember. And
Yeah.
that's because those answers are here. But
Okay.
remember them because we shut them off.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
that is, in a sense, that is our own intuitive guide and our own intuitiveness kind of protecting us until we're ready to come back.
Okay.
And sometimes we're not ready, but sometimes just seeing it is enough
Mm-hmm.
to be like, this is why I didn't come back, and this is why I left, and this chapter is closed.
Okay.
So, intuition, we're going to read about this one. Night has fallen in the spirit of the Greek goddess Selene.
Of course. Of course.
Of the moon and intuition pauses in peaceful contemplation. She awaits the guiding voice of inspiration to move through her as she seeks the answer to a predicament. On her right shoulder sits a dove, a constant and familiar presence, and a spirit messenger linking the realm of insight to the mortal world.
Hmm. That bridge
Mm-hmm.
from the veil of the living
Mm-hmm.
to yeah.
I like that because I literally wrote my poetry book on this, and it was a bridge between chaos. And it was based all about that psychic mediums are the bridge between the physical world and the
Mm-hmm.
mental world.
Absolutely.
So I really like that. That was good.
I
That was
like that.
good too.
There you
The
go.
river glistens in the light of the moon, and like the unconscious mind, contains hidden secrets and new life beneath its mysterious silvery surface. The guiding light of Mother Moon, by her very nature, echoes the cycle of womanhood and feminine instinct. And I told you a lot of your instincts were feminine.
We're feminine. That divine feminine.
Inturi in Latin is for intuition and means to look within or contemplate. In drawing this card, you are being prompted to do this. Seen through a quiet lens of meditation, intuition can lead to your own knowing. Everyone possesses intuition to varying degrees, but it does not thrive well in the domain of excessive thinking and analysis.
Hmm.
While the intellect has its vital place, this card reminds you to look within for your answers. Knowledge is taught, and by contrast, intuition is caught. Visualize your mind
Hmm.
as an empty chalice to catch the messages springing from the foundation of intuition. Since knowledge expounds outwardly while intuition listens inwardly, by listening you are more likely to reach wise decisions in the face of adversity or a situation in need of clarity.
Hmm.
All oracle cards carry symbols which have been designed to trigger insights, and the intuitive faculties for this card are no exception. Look for any clues in the symbols or colors that may have specific relevance to your question.
Well, it's funny because the first card that you pulled, she's pouring water, the intuitive waters from her vessel, and then it's a body of water in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that deck. That's an awesome deck.
Yep. It was really,
Hmm.
really good reading.
I like it. Wow. There's a lot of strength, and feminine, divine feminine connection. It's so funny because I actually ended up getting myself a ring of the triple moon to remind myself of the maiden, mother, and crone, of that I don't constantly have to be in just one constant state, that I can be all of that at
Yep.
all times.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yay! How are you feeling?
I
Are we feeling
I
better about our past lives now?
I do. I really am. And I feel like I've neglected that little girl that was coming through in the first time.
You're fine. I think she more or less wants to be acknowledged. Like a lot of them, they just want to be acknowledged.
She's adorable. She's adorable. And the little girl that's with her too. Very sweet. Um, so you said I'm not so much an empath, but Palladian.
Mm-hmm. And I have
Okay.
notes on that, and I'm gonna look it up in a little bit
Okay.
and send those to you.
Because when I've looked up Palladian before, I've always been called to the Seven Sisters. I think that the name has just always been catchy, but then when I look it up, it only gives me the definition of like the constellations, or that solar system, placement, but nothing more than that. And I'm like, well, I'm really drawn to this, but that's not the direction I'm being called for. So I just kind of gave up looking up for it.
I know, I know.
Hmm.
But I have
Very
notes
interesting.
that I can send you. See?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I'd really appreciate that.
Of
This
course.
has been phenomenal. So I feel very, like I'm seeing through different eyes right now.
Good. Good.
Yes, I like this.
Yay!
And it's funny because there's a while back I took a selfie. I'm not one for selfies, but I said that's the first time I'm seeing myself
Mhm.
for the first time in my entire life. In that image, I see myself reflected in there. I'm like, I
Yay.
like her. I need to be more of her.
Good. Good. Yay. I'm proud of you.
It's so much better now.
Yay. Good.
So thank you so very, very much for this. Like this means a lot. This has, yeah, it's definitely gotten that voice of second guessing myself out a lot more.
Good.
And now I have more tools to connect with my spirit guides and to just bring that grounding and that cord cutting everywhere that it is needed.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, yes, everywhere. Everywhere. We're gonna set that shit on fire.
Yes.
Oh, you're the best, Lexi. Seriously. And I can't wait to get those oils to start working with that divine feminine oil.
Yes.
That feminine oil. So very, very excited.
Yay. All right. I will talk to you later. If you have any questions or anything after this, you can just shoot me a DM and I'm gonna let this process and then I'll email
Uh-huh.
it to you. And I'm gonna take some pictures of your cards.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Oh, you're the best. I'll talk to you soon, Lexi.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.